So today we are going to see about basics of leadership. So the topics that we are going to cover today: what is leadership and what are the characteristics of leadership, what is the importance of leadership, what is the role of a leader, what are the qualities of a leader, and what are the basic differences between a leader and a manager, and what are the different leadership styles. So these are the topics that we are going to see in today's session. So what are the basics of leadership? So leadership is a process by which an executive can direct, guide and influence the behavior and work of others towards accomplishment of specific goals. So as I've already mentioned, what is the difference between a manager and a leader? So a manager is responsible for getting things done, while a leader is responsible for showing a way or exemplifying ways or making the people understand in accomplishing or working on that task. So the leader's responsibility is to make the people realize the importance of their work and then make them work towards that, while management is not about inspiring, but it is about getting things done. So that is the basic difference between management and leadership. So leadership is the potential to influence the behavior of others. So it is also defined as the capacity to influence a group of people towards the realization of specific set of objectives. So who is the founder of leadership? How is the leadership founded? So initially leadership was just started on an individual friend accomplishing different set of tasks and then extending it to a group of people. So that is how leadership has started, and transformational leadership was initially described by James McGregor, and he expounded upon and that was again expounded upon Bernard Voss. And leadership in which contrasts the characteristics of transformational leadership with transactional leadership. So we'll see about what is a transformational leadership and what is a transactional leadership in the further lessons. So what are the characteristics of leadership? So leadership is basically interpersonal process in which a manager tends to influence and guide the people towards accomplishing a task. So a manager can be a leader, and but a leader need not necessarily be a manager. So that is the a main difference between a leadership and management. A manager can be a leader, has to become a leader, while a leader need not necessarily be a manager. So it denotes few qualities to be present in a person, that includes intelligence, maturity, ability to understand things and responsibility. So it is a group process. So leadership is not an individualistic process, rather it is a group process. A leader is involved in shaping and molding the behavior of the group of people towards accomplishing a set of organizational goals or objectives. So leadership is situation bound. There is no best style of leadership. It all depends upon tackling the situations. So leadership is again situational and context bound. There is no specific style of leadership that is defined that we need to follow only this form of leadership, but it again depends on how do you handle the situations and the group of people and the kind of issues and the tasks that are being worked upon to be accomplished. So how did the leadership begin? Leadership initially began as a one-dimensional internal and individualistic process in which only a leader's personality, traits or behaviors were considered. The dyadic relationships evolved as the leader's interaction with others, which were to be considered. So initially it evolved as a one-dimensional individualistic process rather, and after that it expanded into a dyadic relationships that evolve with the leader's interactions with others. So what is the importance of leadership? So leadership is an important function of management which helps to minimize the efficiency and to achieve organizational goals. So it's an important function of management. So leadership forms a function of management. Leadership is a part of management that helps maximize the efficiency and productivity to achieve organizational goals. It initiates action. So leader is the person who starts the work by communicating the policies and plans to subordinates from where the work actually starts. And motivation. A leader proves to be playing a inspirational and a motivational role in standing as a role model for its employees, for his or her employees, thereby getting the work done by them and through them. Providing guidance. So a leader should be able to guide their team, should be able to provide the required set of guidance wherever it is required and whenever it is required. Creating confidence. So he should be able to create confidence within his team. So the team working under a leader should not feel that they are being treated as employees, rather they are being treated as a team, as a group of people working together to accomplish a task. So they have to feel that sense of empowerment and responsibility within their minds in getting things done, in working for the organizational goals and objectives. It builds the work environment. So the kind of work environment that a leader builds, it all depends on the strategy the leader follows or designed by the leader, and that is what makes the leader unique or distinguished, because leadership is a unique quality. Not all leaders will follow the same set of leadership qualities. So leadership is unique in its nature. So every leader is different. So is the every leader's leadership style. And coordination. Coordination can be achieved through reconciling personal interests with the organizational goals. So a leader is the person who also takes care of the personal issues along with the project defined or the organization defined objectives. So he is a person who also takes care of their team's personal issues, try to improve and develop their personal lives along with their accomplishing their companies or organizations' goals and objectives. So what is the role of a leader? So a leadership role is defined at all levels. It is a function which is important at all levels. Even in the management also, you need to exhibit leadership qualities. It's important for getting cooperation in formulation of plans and policies. And representative of the organization. A leader stands as a representative for the organization. So he is a single point of contact who represents their company, who depicts the value and reputation of their company in terms of his presence or his way of working, the kind of leadership style that he exhibits. So a leader stands as a role model and an ambassador or a representative for a company. So leadership is a very responsible role, unlike management. Management is more task oriented and process oriented and time bound, while leadership is much more beyond that. It integrates and reconciles the personal goals with the organizational goals. So as I've already mentioned, a leader needs to take care of the personal goals of its employees along with the organization defined goals. He solicits support. So he is a person who entertains and invites support and cooperation of subordinates. So wherever it is required, he needs to take the guidance of his team. He should be open-minded. He should not follow the dictatorship style wherein the team just follows what a leader says. So he has to inculcate or inspire the team to follow him rather than rule the team to follow him. So it is basically not only task oriented. A leader cannot show the qualities of a boss. A boss tells the team what to do and gets things done, while a manager manages the team how to do, when to do and what to do, and will get things done. While a leader inspires the team, exemplifies the team, takes out the real-time examples, real-life scenarios and explains it to the team and makes the team understand in getting things done. So that is the basic difference between a boss, manager and a leader. So these topics are covered in my book Unique Thinking also, where unique thinking can be applicable in the professional context. How unique thinking is applied for managing a group of teams, and what makes the basic difference between a boss, a manager and a leader. Dimensional thinking for managers and leaders. So how a manager should think, how a boss should think and how a leader should think. All these are explained in my book Unique Thinking, Leading and Managing by Thoughts. As a friend, philosopher and guide. So a leader should behave like a friend, a philosopher and a guide to its team. So the team should feel like working under him, working with him, working along him and getting things done. Having an impact by getting things done, not just by getting things done, while having an impact of getting things done by getting things done. What are the qualities of a leader? So a leader has got multi-dimensional traits in him which makes him appealing and effective in behavior. So physical appearance. Physical appearance is also one of the qualities that a leader should possess. So a leader should stand as a role model in his physical appearance. It doesn't mean that he should have a very good physique or he should wear blazers and suits every day. It's not mandatory. This doesn't mean that he should be well equipped and well built and things like that, but rather he should be, his presence, his look, when his presence should give that leadership look. No matter what he wears, no matter what kind of clothing he prefers and physical appearance he prefers, rather the team should get that feeling and that impression of a leader by looking at him, because he is the representative of the organization. He stands as the ambassador for his team, for the kind of decisions that he's making for the organization, for his team. So he's a responsible person. You should have that, you should get that that sense of responsibility when looking at him. So that should be the kind of physical presence and physical appearance a leader should possess. Vision and foresight. So a leader should have a vision as to what he is expecting to do, what he is required to accomplish in the next 5 years or 10 years. And he should have a proper forecast and a foresight. Intelligence. He should be intelligent enough to understand what is happening and what are the kinds of problems that are coming across and what is the resolution for that. And what are the responsibilities, roles and responsibilities and accountability. You should have that RACI kind of a matrix wherein he will be able to delegate the work effectively and efficiently within his team. Communication skills. A leader must be able to communicate the policies and procedures clearly, precisely and effectively and make his team understand and follow. So he should be able to persuade and stimulate the team in understanding the policies, procedures and goals and objectives of the company in an effective and an efficient way. And he should have proper knowledge of work. He should have the sense of responsibility. He should be self-confident and should have the willpower. He should be a humanist. He should give importance to the people working for him. He should be empathetic. He should have that sensibility towards people's problems and come up with the resolutions of the problems, whether it's personal or professional. That is what makes him a leader in a way that the issues get resolved. So what are the differences between a manager and a leader? As I have mentioned, there are basic differences and considerable differences between a manager and a leader. So as LinkedIn CEO Jeff Weiner says, a manager tells what to do and a leader inspires them to do. So this is one very good quote that I have taken from the LinkedIn chairman Jeff Weiner. So there are some good quotes that I have included in my book, Unique Quotes for Leadership and Management as well. This is one of the quotes that is included in that book. Along with this, there are many other quotes given by many successful people and CEOs and founders of multinational corporates, various professions. So it's a good collection of 1,000 quotes taken from some of the most powerful and successful people from some of the world's best minds. So I'll take another session altogether completely different, mentioning the quotes that I have taken and who has given those quotes. So that is going to be a very interesting session. So I'll include that in my next class. So coming to the differences between manager and a leader. So a person becomes a manager by virtue of this position. A person becomes a leader on the basis of his qualities. So leaders are born, not made. This is one of the quotes which we have been reading since everywhere. We see a leader is born, not made, and also the vice versa. A leader is made, not born. So it all depends on the kind of intelligence he has, the kind of qualities that he exhibits as a leader. Manager has got the formal rights in an organization, while the leaders are not eligible to having any rights. So there is no such thing like defined rights or terms and conditions for a leader. While a leader is not need not specifically be very process oriented, while management is something to do with the process. A manager should be process oriented. Like, he need to follow the management process areas, knowledge areas defined by the PMP. He needs to complete the certification, PMP certification defined by the project management institute, project management body of knowledge. So he needs to follow a set of theories, theoretical knowledge. He needs to process, understand the process for becoming and being a good manager. While leadership is not like that. Leadership doesn't have, though he needs to understand different types of leadership, different categories and styles of leadership, and he needs to have in-depth knowledge about leadership, but there is no such thing like a certification of becoming a leader. A leader should only have these qualities. There is no such thing like that. So leadership is always innovative and out of box thinking and in box thinking. So that is what is also mentioned in unique thinking, dimensional thinking for managers and leaders. How a manager should think and how a leader should think, and how can he fine tune his thought process in exhibiting his unique thinking capabilities in standing distinguished among a group of people or a group of leaders. What is his uniqueness quotient as a leader? How he is a unique leader. Followers, the subordinates are the followers of the managers. So manager will have a team, entire team will follow him, while a leader also will have a team, but the expectation of a leader is not his team to follow him, rather inspire his team to follow him. So if you remember, if you exactly understand the difference, it is like making the people understand and recognize the importance of following a leader, rather than making people follow a leader or a manager. So that is what is called management. This is what is called leadership. A manager is very essential to a concern. A leader is required to create cordial relation between the person working in and for organization. So a manager is required to solve the problems of his team, while a leader should have that kind of rapport and relationship within his team, within and outside his team, to understand his team's pros and cons, good qualities and improvement areas, and how can he help his team as a leader in developing and growing. Stability, it's more stable. Leadership is temporary. So management, as I've mentioned, it is very specific process oriented, while leadership is not like that. Well, all managers are leaders, but all leaders are not managers. And manager is accountable for self and subordinates behavior and performance. Leaders have no well-defined accountability. So managers are accountable for their team's performance, while leaders are not exactly accountable for their team's performance, rather they are accountable for growing their team, and at the end of the day accountable for their team's performance. It's not just the accountability based on their work, it is also the responsibility of the accountability. That is the basic difference. Concern, a manager's concern is organizational goals, a leader's concern is group goals and members' satisfaction. So a leader's concern is more beyond achievement of goals. He needs to ensure that the people working with him will have an impact on the within the organization and outside the organization, on the society. So he needs to ensure that they have that impact with the work that they are doing and by the work that they are doing. And different types of leadership styles. So what are the different types of leadership? We have democratic leadership, we have autocratic leadership, laissez-faire leadership, strategic leadership, transformational leadership, transactional leadership, coach style leadership, and bureaucratic leadership. So what is democratic leadership? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's commonly effective. The leader makes decisions based on the input of each team member. Although he or she makes the final call, each employee has an equal say on the project's direction. So democratic leadership is they follow democracy within their teams. So every person has the right to say something and a leader has to consider that. While the final decision lies with the leader to take the final call, but he needs to consider what his team is saying. That is democratic leadership. Autocratic leadership. Leader makes the decisions without taking input from anyone who reports to him. So this is very rarely used, autocratic leadership, wherein he is the whole and sole person who will take the decision, not concerned anything about his team. This is very rarely used because what is suggested is you need to have good rapport within your team, with your team, and have that discussion, understanding, and take the inputs from your team. Laissez-faire leadership. It's the least intrusive form of leadership. So laissez-faire means let them do. And leaders who embrace this afford nearly all authority to its employees. So in laissez-faire leadership, the leader will give space and allow its team to do whatever they want, work however they want. So he will give that leverage of getting things done. And this is what is called empowerment of the team, and this is very advisable because once the person feels really empowered and accountable, the kind of work that he will deliver without anybody asking him to do that way is outstanding. So this is a proven example. That's why nowadays empowerment within the teams is being suggested to give that space and accountability and responsibility for the people to work on their own for getting things done. Strategic leadership. It's an intersection between a company's main operations and its growth opportunities. So strategic leadership is all about alignment of the organizational goals with your specified set of objectives to make sure that the work is being done in a way that is fair, transparent, accountable, responsible, and impactful. Transformational leadership is always transforming and improving upon the company's conventions. So in transformational leadership, it is all about improving growth of its employees as well as its organization. You need to bring out the change within your company, within your team, and to have that transformational impact on the society as a whole. So that is what is called transformational leadership. You should be able to adapt to the dynamic changing world, make changes within your company, within your team, stand out as a leader, unique as a leader, be transformational, and have a positive impact on the society and be as a role model for others to follow you. That is what is called transformational leadership. Transactional leadership. In this, the managers reward their employees to precisely, the work they do. So transactional leadership helps establish roles and responsibilities for each employee, but it also encourages The minimum work if employee knows how much their effort is worth all the time. So this can use incentive programs to motivate employees, but they should be consistent with the company's goals and used in addition to unscheduled gestures of appreciation. So transactional leadership is considering the monetary and non-monetary benefits that a employee has to possess from the organization side. So a transactional leadership motivates and inspires its employees, taking their personal constraints into consideration, their work-life balance, their monetary benefits, their incentives, their non-monetary benefits, and exhibiting the leadership qualities and standing as a role model or a leader or a person who can understand the problems and issues of its employees in terms of their work-life balance or their family relationships or their finances or the issues that they are facing within the organization and outside the organization. Coach style leadership. So in this, the leader focuses on identifying and nurturing the individual strengths of each member on his or her team. They also focus on strategies that will enable their teamwork better together. So this offers strong similarities to strategic and democratic leadership, but puts more emphasis on the growth and success of individual employees. So coach style leadership is that the leader stands as a coach by exhibiting the kind of leadership style that the team has to follow, will follow, and inspired to follow. So this is more or less similar to democratic leadership, wherein every team member will have a chance to come up with his own opinion or thought or say, which the leader has to consider and has to follow. Bureaucratic leadership. So in this style of leadership might listen and consider the input of its employees, unlike autocratic leadership, but the leader tends to reject an employee's input if it conflicts with the company policies or past practices. So bureaucratic leaders usually go by books. They more follow the theories and principles and practices of leadership. So they have the right to reject their employees or their team's decision if it's conflicting with the organizational goals and objectives. So in the next class, we will see how do you assess leadership style, how a person is assessed as what kind of leader, whether he is a democratic leader or a bureaucratic leader or an autocratic leader or a coach style leader. What is the kind of leadership, or an individualistic leader, or he's a strategist or an optimist or an alchemist. So what is his leadership quality and how we are going to assess the leadership qualities of a leader. So we are going to see this in the next class along with the principles of leadership. And there are some more topics that I will cover as part of leadership in the further classes. So we'll take it one after the other, wherein I'll covering all the topics of leadership. Along with that, we'll also learn how to use unique thinking and thought process for improving and fine-tuning our mind and thoughts to become a good manager and a good leader. So we'll see these topics in the further classes.